Hey going monks, Hybrid here. Today I'm going to be giving you a detailed breakdown on how you set up objectives like a pro player. So this is a mistake people make in Challenger and GM, even in these higher ranks, people always make these mistakes and you'll see it everywhere, right? So how do you actually set up objectives? And I've gotten a lot of complaints from you guys in like coaching sessions I've done with you or in my Twitch chat that your support doesn't move for grubs and you don't know how to fix it. Well, today I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to split the video into a few different sections. But the two main sections will be one on grubs, one on Drake. So grubs are a lot more complex, so we'll get straight into grubs. So when you're talking about grubs, the number one most important thing you need to make sure you do as a jungler is that, let's say I'm on red side here, okay? Let's say I'm on red side. I'm red side jungler. I want to be where I am right now. I want to be here at 1:15, 1 minute and 15 seconds before this objective spawns, if I'm playing grubs, right? So grubs spawn at 6 minutes. So if you're playing for first spawn, then you're a minute 15, you're at 4 minutes 45 seconds, you're here. And what you want to do as a jungler is you want to make sure your bot lane shoves this wave. Now, here, just to make it a comprehensive explanation, let's say your bot lane is incapable of shoving it by themselves. This would require you to go and hit the wave with them and make sure the wave shoves into enemy tower. Okay? If your bot lane can't hit it themselves, then all you have to do is sit here, make sure enemy jungle can't gank them while your bot lane is shoving the wave, and you and your support, your support and ADC all reset together, right? So you all go back. Let's say you all go back. This is B. Okay, so you're going back. And all three of you exit together. And what you can do is two things. Number one, you'll see this more in pro play. So this is a bit more rare in solo queue. I think you'll only probably see it ever in Challenger. So your bot lane will open top. This is what we call lane swap. I'm sure you've seen it if you've watched Worlds. And as jungler, all you can be in whatever. It's easier. It's a lot more difficult to operate in solo queue because you don't have voice chats, right? So lane swaps require a lot of a communication and cohesiveness, which you just don't have in solo queue. So you'll very rarely see lane swaps coming. So the more common thing is that your bot lane, Mr. ADC over here, will run back bot. So your ADC will open bot, and your support and you will want to open here together. Okay, so your support and you are here together. Okay, and you might be asking me, Hybrid, why do I have to be bot lane a minute and 15 seconds before? Why does it make sense? Why do I have to shove the wave in? Okay, so it gives you three big advantages. Number one, it ensures that your support has the opportunity to move. So one person I coached recently, he said, oh, my support's not moving. So I looked through one of his games and he said his support was moving, but his support couldn't move because the wave hadn't crashed, right? So what you're doing right here is you're freeing up your support to be able to move on the map. So why is this freeing up? Why is this freeing up your support? Because if the wave is not at enemy tower and not slow pushing towards you guys, which is what you created by being there, right, and crashing the wave, you created a slow push towards you. So if you didn't do that, your support has to be there, so your ADC can't be zoned off the wave, he can't be 2v1 killed, and he can't be tower dove. So your support is there for a good reason, okay? But if you've shoved the wave, he doesn't have to be there anymore because there's no wave to farm. It's slow pushing towards you, your ADC isn't losing any minions, your ADC can just sit on the tower or just sit a bit further back in lane and be completely fine, like completely safe. Nobody can kill him because he has no reason to ever walk up and endanger himself because there's no CS to hit because it's a slow push towards him, right? So that's the number one thing. You ensure that your support can move. Number two, you ensure that your ADC can catch the wave safely. So here, I've got a good example of what happens when you don't do this. So this game is from the LCK finals. So you'll see here. So see here, if you look on the minimap. Oh, wait, sorry. Actually, no, you'd have to look at the minimap. So just look here. So Zara wants to play grubs. And Zara wants to play grubs, right? So you can see on the mini... wait, actually, you can't see. 1 second. Let me move my camera a bit over. So you can see on the minimap here, Zara is here, but there's a big bot wave here, right? So Zara didn't go through the correct steps, PNs didn't go through the correct steps, and the wave isn't shoved properly. So his support can't move, and more importantly, what happens here is that his ADC is endangered, his bot lane is endangered because they need to shove the wave in, but the jungler is not here to shove the wave in. So what happens is Canyon can recognize the opportunity and gank your bot lane. And your bot lane's wave isn't shoved, so your ADC is endangered here. Or your bot lane's endangered here, right? So you're giving them a free kill by not shoving the wave properly. And this results in the kill for Genji, right? Which sucks. So as a jungler, by doing these, by going bot and shoving the wave, you're avoiding situations like this where you guys won't just give free kills for no reason, right? So that's the second thing. Third thing is your support. This is the third and fourth thing, but your support, by doing this, right? Enemy support, if you shove the wave in, enemy support has to be bought and catch the wave. I'm sure we can all agree to this, right? Enemy support has to be bought to crash the wave. So what does this mean? It means that your support is on the map 20 seconds before enemy support is on the map. So let's say enemy recalls after catching the wave, he'll be 20 seconds behind your support. So this can generate you two things. Number one, it can generate you good vision here. So you can put the ward here, you can put the ward here. You have all vision covered. And what this gives you is an anticipation advantage. So let's say if enemy is walking into you and you have intel that they're walking into you, this allows you to make plays like get picks on them. Or, for example, it allows you to punish the other side of the map, right? If you want to go bot and punish them on bot, or you can punish top lane. Let's say you see them entering through here, right? Then all you have to do, and you and your support are here, right? You can just run top and know that it's 3v1, kill this guy, and then play the objective, right? So that's another thing. But the other important thing, so one big advantage is 20 seconds, you have anticipation advantage, you have vision control, and allows you to play the objective in a more secured manner, whereas enemy has no vision, they're face checking you, it's very risky, right? There's a lot of unknowns there for enemy team, whereas you have a lot of intel. Second thing is that because you guys are 20 seconds earlier, you guys can gain mid-prior, which in a second I'll talk about, is the most important thing when you're playing for objectives. So how does this get how do you get mid-prior to play for grubs? Easy. Let's say actually, how do you get mid-prior if you don't have a mid laner that gets mid-prior easy, okay? So let's say, for example, you have a Zed who's notoriously bad at getting mid-prior, and let's say enemy team has I'm trying to think of Orianna, which is notoriously good at getting mid-prior, right? How would you ever get prior mid if you're Zed into Orianna? So there's two things you can do, okay? I'll tell you what people do, and I'll tell you what I think is the best, okay? So what people do is they sit in this bush right here, so the river bush, between mid lane and the river, okay? So that bush right there. What people do is sit there, and they believe that their mid laner can walk up and hit the wave because he feels safe. That's what they say. But I don't like this because I feel like if enemy mid laner is smart, and he just doesn't endanger himself, and he just pokes your mid laner out. So it doesn't change anything, right? Orianna can poke his head out. Doesn't matter if you're there, you're not doing anything, right? So what I like to do is as a jungler, I like to either hit the wave or do a short gank. So what do I mean by what do I mean by hitting the wave? So pretty much by hitting the wave, all I mean is you and your mid laner, you push the wave in together, and then you get prior to rotate forward the grubs, okay? But the other option, which I think is probably better, because I don't know if you've noticed, right? This is obviously good. Hitting the wave of your mid laner is perfectly fine in high elo. People will never flame you for it. But if you do it in diamond and below, people always flame you for it because they don't understand it, okay? So what you could do, which is also as good, is you could do a short gank. So what a short gank is you don't actually look for the kill. So let's say I'm playing Vi, I have Zed, enemy has Orianna. I just Q onto the Orianna, trade HP with her, and what that causes to happen is that enemy Orianna will be less he'll be less likely to contest mid-prior because he's already lost a big chunk of his HP, and he doesn't want to trade more. Why? Because it means he could be dove, it means he could be ganked, right? It means he could die solo kill. So he wouldn't want to trade. So he's going to play more secure and safe, and your mid laner can play more aggressive, push the wave in, and you can move in, okay? So that's a very important concept. Short ganks are very, very important. You don't have to get the kill every time. That's what people misunderstand in lower elos. They always like, every time I gank, I want the kill. No, be happy. You can take small victories, okay? So a short gank allows you to take away a bit of enemy mid lane HP and ensures you get mid prior, okay? So the 4 things you get from doing what I just told you, being 1 minute and 15 seconds ahead, is number 1, you get sup move, okay? Number 2, your ADC is safe. Okay, ADC is safe. Number 3, you have vision control. Right? And number 4, most importantly, you can get mid prior. Okay? So you have there's 4 big reasons for you to do this part. So remember, very easy to do. 1 minute and 15 seconds before the grub spawn or the herald spawns, you go bot, make sure you guys can shove the wave in, right? You reset with your support. You open the map with your support together. You guys get vision. Then you guys go get mid prior. After you get mid prior, you have 3 people. They have to catch the mid wave. You can go do the grubs. Okay, so that's very easy, right? A good example of this actually in action is in the same series that we talked about just then, the LCK finals, where Peanut actually, this is later on in the series, he actually learns from his mistake and he actually executes it properly here. So what you'll see here is that Peanut will recall here and ensure that his bot lane gets the wave in, is able to get the wave in. And what he will do is he will open the map, and Rakan, which will be a bit more delayed than he would like, will also open the map before enemy support. And what you'll see is that they actually get a kill because of it. So just watch here. You'll see Canyon is recalling. Peanut is recalling. He ensures his bot lane gets the wave in. He makes sure with the sapling that Skarner isn't here. So he takes an early recall, which is fine, right? Because he knows Skarner isn't there. And he opens the map. Rakan also opens the map with him. You see, Rakan is right there in mid lane. And they get an advantage of this, okay? So look here, they have what they need. Rakan is there. They get a kill because of it, right? This is a perfect example for it, right? They're first on the map. They're allowed to get the saplings, which is effectively same as vision. They're able to get a kill because of it, okay? A very simple understanding and good use of it. Now we're going to talk about overall objective setting up. Okay, now the next thing to talk about is how do you set up objectives generally, okay? So we talked about grubs. Grubs is by far the most complex one, so thank God we're through it. Now we talk about how we want to play objectives in general, okay? So when you're playing objectives, there are kind of 4 things you want. Number 1, you want mid-prior. To explain it, from wave, it used to be that because your mid-prior, mid-wave was shorter, there was a desync between mid-wave and bot-wave, so you could always roam mid to bot, and then you'd still get prior. I mean, you still had time to catch the wave, right? Because the mid-wave arrived earlier always, but now because they changed it this year, you don't have that advantage anymore. But gaining mid-prior allows you to get many things. It still allows you to create a numbers advantage that allows you to get bot lane prior, okay? So Magi Felix actually did a video on this. It's he talked about how with mid lane prior, you don't even need to move, okay? So let's say let's just say, to explain how important mid prior is, let's just say that you're 3v3 here, okay? You can't shove in the wave and get prior. You can't shove in here and get prior. And they can't shove in you. You're at a stalemate. Why? Because you have 3 people on each side, okay? You don't have an advantage over them. So how do you create an advantage? Simple. Let's say you have a Rise on your team, okay? So you get mid prior, okay? So you do what I talked about earlier. You do a short gank. So again, you're playing Vi here. You want to play the dragon, right? You want to play this. And you just do a short gank here. Right? This guy was like, okay, I can't get prior anymore. This Orion was like, I can't get prior anymore, okay? So Rise gets prior. And what you do is your Rise sits here. Just doesn't even have to go. Minding you've cleared the vision already, okay? Let's say you've cleared the vision already. You know they have no vision in river, okay? So your Rise sits here. And you go down there. Why would you get prior here? Because enemy doesn't know where your Rise is. For what it's worth, they probably think that he's bot lane, right? So they're scared. They know Rise is bot side, they don't know where he is, and they're afraid to contest this bot lane prior because it's going to be a 4v3 if Rise is there, right? So they will never contest the prior because they're at the numbers disadvantage. Okay, obviously, if your Rise wants to move all the way down and actually create a numbers advantage, that works as well. And maybe in low elo, that's better, right? But in the high elos, you'll always see mid laners only hover in the river. They'll do what you call fogging. So they'll fog in the river and not actually go to lane. But in lower elos, it might be better if they go to lane. Okay, so that allows you to get side lane prior and allows you to play for this. Okay, so that comes to the second most important thing. You need side lane prior. Okay. Side prior. And again, why side lane prior important? Because if enemy is, let's say, for mid lane and side lane prior, right? Let's say enemy is forced, there's a wave at enemy tower, okay? That's what you call prior, getting prior is. You have prior, enemy has to answer the wave at tower, okay? Some of you have asked me, Highbridge, what if they have a wave at tower and they just come and contest? It's going to be a 4v4. What do we do? We don't have a numbers advantage, okay? They're not catching the waves. They're, why do they have to catch the waves? Why can't they just contest 4v4 and whatever, right? The waves can go to hell. So what you do in this instance is, if let's say their mid lane's here, they have a wave here, their bot lane is let's say you guys are all here, right? And their bot lane's here, their jungler's here, and mid lanes are matching, okay? Let's say that. We'll say that there's no advantage you get from the prize. What you should do here is just leave. You just go back to farming. You make sure they can't do the dragon either, right? You don't do the Drake, they don't do the Drake, okay? And you're already gaining something. So in League, every play you make, you want to be gaining something. Here, what are you gaining? You're not getting the objectives, so what are you gaining? You're gaining gold and XP advantage because they can't clear these waves. These waves, they're losing for free. Just by you not doing anything. So you're happy. If they come and contest you, just leave. Just leave. Make sure they're not doing it. Go farm your camps. They're losing something by you not doing anything. So you love to see it. If they contest, just go away. And after they go back to answer the waves, you can repeat the same process and do it again. The reason why people will never drop waves in high elo to contest a Drake is because the benefit you get from dragons, the advantage you get from dragons, are never going to be more important than what a wave gives you in early game. It will never be more important because waves are always more important than anything an objective can give early on, okay? Because imagine, let's say your bot lane hits level 6 a wave earlier, right? They can just kill enemy, they can just 2v2 enemy bot just because enemy bot dropped the wave to contest a Drake that they didn't even get. So if they're actually willing to leave their waves and come contest you, just walk away and you'll be fine, okay? Oops, I accidentally got rid of some mid lane prior and side lane prior are the two most important things, right? But mid lane is by far the most important thing. What is the third most important thing? Okay, so the third most important thing when you're setting up objectives is vision. And you might be asking, how do I know where to ward? I make it easy for you guys, okay? I'll make it very easy. When the wards are in the same positions on both sides of the map, okay? So if you're red side and you're playing, let's say you're red side and you're playing this, okay? You want to play this, you want to play Herald, Red's Herald, Baron, Drake, same thing, okay? Sorry, not Drake, Grubs. Herald, Baron, Grubs. You want to put vision in these two spots. This spot, okay? And if you're on blue side, you want to put vision and you're playing Grubs or Herald or whatever, you want to put these two spots, okay? And if you're playing Drake and you're blue side, you want to put vision in this spot and this spot. And if you're red side, you want to put vision in this. If you notice, they're always mirroring, okay? So they're all in the same positions. Just memorize it or take a screenshot. You always want the wards in these locations. And you might be wondering, oh, why do I want the spot in these locations? Very simple answer, okay? So these locations give you the most vision coverage. It gives you complete vision coverage. So you know where enemies will be when they're entering, okay? So for example, if they're entering through here, you spot of the ward. If they're entering through here, you spot it with the ward. If they're entering through here, you're spotting it with the ward. If they're entering through here, you're spotting it with the ward. If they're entering through here, you're spotting it with the ward. If they're entering through here, you're spotting it through the ward, okay? And this side mirrors that side, so we don't have to expand it. Let's say if they're entering through here, you spawn the ward, you entering through here, you spawn the ward, entering through here, you spawn the ward, entering through here, you spawn the ward. So these give you complete vision coverage, okay? And you have complete intel on where they're going to be. So that's why these wards are always very, very important, okay? So just mark down, as you can see here, you want these two wards and these two wards, okay? Very simple. So vision control is just those two wards. Also, vision control for jungler, very, very important. Remember to take, if you're ever playing for an objective, always take sweeper. Because not only is it important that you put down vision, it's also important that they don't have vision. Otherwise, if both sides have vision, it kind of neutralizes it, right? So not only do you have to put those two wards, which your support should put always, or you put a control ward, either works. You should also make sure they have no vision in river, because it makes it much easier to play. It gives you the advantage of having this kind of ambush sort of thing, right? It gives you like the anticipation advantage, right? You can anticipate what they're doing. They don't have intel on what you're doing. So you have that advantage right there, which is key to winning fights, okay? Remember, vision can win you fights even when you're 4k gold behind. You saw what T1 did at Worlds, right? They had like 3k gold behind. They had good vision. They won the fights. It was crazy. The fourth most important thing, which is kind of the most confusing one, I guess, is you want to make sure that you have a good map state to contest. And what do I mean by map state? What I mean by map state is that even if you have mid prior, even if you have bot prior, even if you have vision, it might not always make sense for you to contest an objective, okay? So let's say, for example, this is first Drake. You want to play for first Drake. Let me ask you, why do you want to play for first Drake when let's say you're 6k gold behind, okay? And its first Drake is up. Let's say you get mid prior, you get bot prior, you get vision control. Why does playing for Drake make sense when you're 6k gold behind? Is that what will bring you back into the game? No, it's not, right? It's not going to bring you back into the game. Okay, so for example, you'll see here, okay, we'll just use the same example we talked about, okay? We can use the example twice, right? Remember the one where Peanut didn't set up properly and their bot lane had a pushing wave? Why did Canyon not contest grubs here? Okay, because he realized that enemy jungle is the Zyra, right? Zyra hard stomps. Zyra hard stomps Skarner early on, right? And also they're like 1k gold behind here early game. And he realizes that the grubs aren't more important than getting their bot lane in the winning position. So here their bot lane is able to freeze the wave and get a free kill just because Canyon recognizes, right? And I think we can all agree this kill and this lane state by freezing it is 10 times more valuable than what the grubs could have given them, right? It's 10 times more valuable. So you need to understand when you're playing the game that I always tell this to my students. Objectives are not always going to be the most important thing in the game, okay? Sometimes gold is going to be more important because it's what allows you to get back into the game, okay? So don't always think about objectives. Remember to look at the map state and see if this objective is really something that's valuable for you. Is it what is most important to you to play for here? Let's say, for example, if you have a Fiora top lane against I'm trying to think of a champion that is useless if it gets stomped. Like a Fiora top lane against a Akshan, right? Should you play for the Drake, which is what? Like a Cloud Drake. Should you play for Cloud Drake over getting your top lane an advantage, your Fiora an advantage? No, because giving your Fiora an advantage wins you the game, right? So don't always blindly play for the objective. Even though mid lane pro, even though side lane pro, even though vision can secure your objective, make sure, always look at the map. Does it make sense for you to contest it? Because sure, you're going to get the objectives if you have these three, but does it make sense for you? Does it make sense for you to contest it? Always ask yourself that question. Does it make sense for me to contest this objective? If it doesn't, right, then I'm not going to do it. Also, just one more thing on this map state thing. Let's say if you have mid lane pro, side lane pro, and vision control. Even though in a close game where it's like within 5k gold, you'll always be able to secure the objective. That might not be the same case for if you're like 6k gold behind, right? Let's say enemy has a 7-0 Yone, and you get mid lane prior, so you make sure enemy Yone is going to be late to the fight. You have a numbers advantage, 4v3. But enemy bot lane is a Rel, enemy ADC is a like Zeri, who's hard to kill, right? And enemy jungle is like a Skarner. They're all hard to kill champions. And even though you have mid prior, right? That Yone is 7-0. Even though he's late to the party, he can make amends for it with how strong he is, right? So sometimes even if you have the three things here, you're not always going to get the objective. Of course, in the game where it's within 5k gold, you'll most likely get it because these three things are more important than gold, right? But if the gold is so ballooned, then sometimes even with these three, you're not going to get it. So remember, always pay attention to the map state and then make a judgment call, okay? Remember, objectives are not always the most important thing. I know in low elo, it always seems more valuable that you have like a win con with Drakes and Grubs. Like you always have a win con if you take them, but they're not that important. Speaking from experience, you really have to sometimes just be willing to let go of objectives. Okay, so to quickly recap everything I talked about in this video, I know it's been very confusing, very complex. Hope I explained it in a good way. But if you're playing Grubs, remember always go bot lane around a minute to a minute 15 seconds before because you allow your support to move. So ensure that your support moves. That's the number one thing. Number two thing, you ensure that your ADC can farm the wave safely. Number three thing, you ensure that you're going to get mid prior because you have support moves, so you have a numbers advantage to gain the mid prior. And the fourth thing, you get vision. Okay, so you get four things from that allow you to get the grubs. Second thing we're recapping is that when you're playing any objective, remember the most important thing when playing for an objective is mid lane prior is the most important thing. Then you want to use mid lane prior to get side lane prior. Then you want to get vision. Then you want to make sure that the map state is actually good for you to play the objective, okay? If it's bad for you to play the objective, you should never even play for the objective in the first place, okay? I hope my kind of perspective as a pro player kind of helps you with this. I think I have a lot of information that really isn't shared. I really didn't see it on the internet, so that's why I made the video today. A lot of you have also asked me in coaching sessions how we do it. So if you are interested in booking a coaching session with me, just hit me up on Discord. You can ask anyone who's had it in my Discord. They'll vouch for me for sure. Hopefully, so not for sure. That sounded very arrogant. Hopefully they'll vouch for me. If you want to support, and if you appreciate the video, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, because those really do help me a lot. Also, if you can watch me at twitch.tv/highbridge, I'd appreciate it a lot. And remember to join my Discord, and you can ask me questions there anytime for free, anytime. I wish you guys luck on the climb. I hope you guys have a great day, and peace. We're out of here.